Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the show of Shadow and Sun. Today, we are painting.
That's right, folks. We're back again to paint these Xenodragons from Archon Studios. In the interim, I gave this one a little bit darker coat of
and by a little bit darker coat, you mean you gave it a second coat?
Of the night scales on its wings and a few other places. That way, I don't know if you can see, but there's a lighter, basically silverish color here than the Batman sort of black silver here and elsewhere.
I feel like you should have. I feel like a third coat might not have hurt.
Right,
if
but
you wanted it really dark.
I'm not going to paint these wing flaps any other color, so we'll see how that goes. Little guy, what do you got going on here?
It's blue.
It's very blue. It's super bright blue. This is all a contrast paint.
Cobalt blue, I guess, would be the right color.
And tonight,
I'm trying to describe the color.
Tonight we're going to be experimenting with yet another product from Arny Painter. This time it's their Masterclass Dry Brushes, because that's what we'll be doing in painting-wise, is dry brushing. I did not know that the Archon paintbrush they offered was an Artist Opus brush.
You thought it was their
I thought it was their own brand. I wasn't sure, and I've heard nothing but good things about Artist Opus. But at about $20 a brush, 4 for $100, you get the special box. I'm actually still considering getting it, but at the moment I got half a dozen Kickstarters going on. So
half a dozen, you mean two?
No, actually, there's a couple more new ones.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we'll go into that later.
One day.
So tonight we're going to be testing out 2 out of the 3, because this one's primarily a terrain brush, but the little guy's going to be using the Masterclass miniature brush, and then this one's called the Masterclass. It's just a dry brush, but this one's more for miniatures.
Wouldn't it be better if you used the miniature one, because you have to do a bit more details, but mine is
I'm itching to use these, so you'll be using this one. Before we start, I want to show you some other brushes I've used in the past for dry brushing. Good old-fashioned.
Would a mistake brush be possible?
Well, maybe if you want to go get some water for it.
I will, just in case. And you said it probably wouldn't hurt. Okay,
you go do that while I tell them about the old brushes. I've been using different kinds of makeup brushes for dry brushing in the past. I've also experimented with stenciling brushes because they look like dry brushes. As you can see, they're very similar in the flat top, although these are actually a little bit more rounded. And I've had limited success with these on the Dungeons and Lasers terrain. They don't work too bad, but, you know, I got this set of stenciling brushes for about $4, and, you know, the old saying, you get what you pay for. But when you're doing massive amounts of terrain, these aren't a horrible choice if you can't find some decent, cheap makeup brushes. And these are just a couple of the different tips and sizes, and I thought I might use these for tonight.
Where are the bottles for the water?
They're by the sink. But I've used these before, maybe not in this video, but I've also used larger ones and smaller ones. But since I'm going to be doing some relatively, you know, tight squeeze dry brushing on this guy, I thought maybe these might come in handy. But if he's going to recommend that I use the small dry brush while he uses the bigger one.
What was it that you were saying?
I was just talking about the different dry brushes I've used in the past for terrain and miniatures and what have you. Just put that over there. Now we're going to show you guys the paints that we'll be using. And believe it or not,
if you don't want to use this one, you can.
We're actually going to be using mostly folk art. You can't read this one because it's, you know, 20 years old, but it still works. It's metallic Christmas green. I'll be using a lot of that. I'll be using some neon green.
I will be using the blue version of that.
I'm also going to be using this color shifter, also by Folk Art. As you can maybe see, it's a greenish, multicolored, and I'm going to be using that for the edge highlighting, the very last step before I go into any, you know, really intricate details like eyes, which we were kind of confused.
I don't think there's any eyes.
Yeah, there's some divots that look like they could be eyes in the face, but most people believe that the alien type thing that this was based off has this sort of uniform, one sort of massive eye optical thing in the front, but you know, I'd have to look up the lore on the aliens from the Alien movies to see exactly how they see and what is their eye. But for the most part, we're just going to leave them as eyeless, psychic killing machines.
I also have blue sapphire from Folk Art as well.
Is that a metallic?
Yes.
Okay.
As well as the purple neon and the royal purple. I can't speak right now, and I don't know why. The royal purple. Let me say it again. The royal purple from Arny Painter, metallic.
From their new color set that we showed off last week, was it?
Yes.
Okay. So let's get to painting. It's Sunday night. Little guy's got to get back to school, so we don't want to take up too much of your time. But shake whatever you're going to use really good.
Do you already put?
The shaker ball? Oh, yes, absolutely.
You put one or two?
Just one. I wanted to stretch them out, and they're small bottles. We're also going to show you our...
Is that enough?
Yeah, our dry brushing technique that we use. These Pringle cans often... Ooh, that's a lot more than I wanted. But that's okay. It's folk art paint. You know. Yeah.
Craft store, even Walmart.
But let me demonstrate for everybody at home. We'll just barely tip the brush into the paint. Especially with these better brushes, you really don't want to get... Try one swipe, let me see. Oh yeah, that might be too much. And then we, instead of just using the paper...
It's better to do too little than too much.
Right, exactly. It's always better to have to go over it multiple times. But we use this edge of the Pringles lid or any other plastic lid to get most of the paint off. We can actually then go back and get that paint and use it before we go on to the traditional drying and getting the paint off on a paper towel like this to make sure you've got just the bare minimum of paint. And we're all erring on the side of caution with these dragons because we do not want to mess with any of this detail. Dragons usually have a lot of scale detail, but these guys here,
have scales.
They have ridges aplenty, and that's actually looking really good.
Oh, I really like this.
Oh yeah, that looks wonderful. But we want to err on the side of caution so that we do not have to go back over anything, especially on his dragon where you had to use contrast paint, and you can't just go back over that. You have to re-white it, re-primer that area that you make a mistake on, and then put a new contrast coat on it before you can go back over with the dry brush. So we're having to be very, very careful. I don't know if you can see that green, but that actually looks real good. I'm going to give it a second. What do you think? Just on the wing edge?
Yeah. Oh,
easy.
I forgot. Don't leave these things standing.
Yeah.
You should probably weigh them.
Yeah, these dragons, a lot of the Archon dragons have a little difficulty standing. I think larger bases would have been better, but to remedy that situation, we're going to go to the hardware store and grab some
metal things,
some washers and some lead weights, and just weight down the bases till they're about 5 pounds each, and we should
5 pounds.
Well, something like that, so that they won't tip over. I thought at first it was the Durkar's fire breath that was actually making him not stand upright, but then we had the same issue with Schmorgenrog.
Schmorgenrog was not nearly as bad.
But it was still difficult.
And Durkar was not nearly as bad as these.
Yeah.
Or was he worse?
And these, I know for a fact, we built them correctly.
In mine, I put a bit too much model glue.
Right, but I mean their positioning. I think it was Durkar had a very precarious spot to glue him into his base.
But this one didn't. But these ones didn't.
No, these ones had a peg. If it doesn't go in the peg, it doesn't fit. It doesn't stand. So we know we got these guys together just right. And
yeah, it's looking really good.
Oh, I like that a lot. You definitely picked the right color. And that's going to go really good with the terrain we've already done for our xeno layers.
There are a few things I do want to keep blue, as is probably obvious by now.
Yeah.
Right, a little bit of... should I dry brush the spikes and horns blue? And I like neon blue?
You maybe, although you may want to go back over them with the metallic blue. It's really going to be hard. I know you like using a neon for all the spikes and horns. So let's first things first, let's get the dry brush. We tend to do the spikes and horns and things like that at the very end because
I'm not going to do them in the video.
Because we always get paint, on those things that doesn't belong there. I'm really liking that green. I think I picked the right color.
No, would you rather use them? Were you thinking of using the Vallejo one instead?
Yeah, I was thinking of using the Arny Painter metallic.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And it's just it's too lime light. I just didn't like it. I mean, I like it for other things, but not for this. I want to keep it.
I don't remember what it looked like.
It was just too bright and cheery. And for this particular version of the dragon, I want him.
It was actually like a lime green. I actually would have used that because I don't know. I just like lime green better than most other greens for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe because I don't like. Maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe it might have something to do with I don't like regular greens as much. And by lime green, I mostly mean the neon green that we had. Not exactly that, obviously.
Yeah. But
colors similar to that. I don't know why, but I don't know, whatever.
And I know I'm probably getting green on his wings, but that I can easily cover back up with.
Yeah, it's on mine.
Yeah.
Need to be very careful.
I am liking this brush. What do you think of that one?
Good.
Is it better than a makeup brush? Can you tell the difference?
Yes, it is better than a makeup brush, but that might just be because of its size and also the fact that it's a lot more focused instead of being spread out.
Yeah, I like the rounded tips instead of the flat tips.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's really difficult. As you can see, the paint's already going up to the ferrule, and I don't like that. It's going to make it very hard to clean.
It's not as bad for me.
No, this brush is so tiny, though. I knew it was going to be a challenge, but...
I mean, that's another reason why I wanted you to have it, because I'm terrible at keeping it.
Yeah, it's taken me years to make it a habit of not doing that. And
but it's actually not that I have an issue with dipping it too far in. It's that usually I try to get into a crack.
Yeah, and then it gets onto the sides and then just pushes it up. Yeah. When you start buying paintbrushes as much as I have been lately, it's an additional reminder that's why you're buying more new paintbrushes, because when the paint gets up here and it dries in there, it tends to make your brushes want to flower out and no longer and more. They don't stay pointy or whatever their shape is, because the paint is at the very edge of this metal part, pushing it to where the exact spot that you don't want.
I might want to paint the claws and stuff white again.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Actually, I'm probably gonna do that anyways, even on the ones that I didn't. Well, on the ones I got a little bit on not all of the ones, but most of them. Oh, that was bad. I forgot to.
Let's the camera see what you've done so far. I really like that. Slowly. The other side where you can see the purple, that really looks incredible on the tail.
Yeah. I was gonna focus on one side, but I'm not.
Yeah, it gets a little harder. When we were beginning, the little guy would always just paint one half of a dragon.
But that was mostly because I was doing a lot more.
Yeah. These dragons, as detailed as they aren't actually as complicated to paint. Their scales and armor plates and things like that aren't the same as a traditional dragon.
Because it's not really a dragon in reality. I mean, technically, there isn't a specific definition for dragon.
Right, but they're very different, and they lend to being able to paint it a little bit simpler in a way. You don't have to...
technically you can paint this to be very, very complicated.
Right, but everyone...
I don't even think it would look that good, because I'm pretty sure I haven't seen a single person paint it in a very complicated way.
I was just going to say that everybody who I've seen paint one of these dragons, it's very, almost monotone. It's like one or two colors of paint, and you're kind of done. You know, like the alien from the Alien movies, it was
just black.
It was black. Any other color you saw was technically light, reflecting off it in a white sort of, glow or shine, and that was it. That's
sometimes they're blue or red, but for red that's just lighting, and
right.
For blue that's just lighting, and red that's some weird things.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm still done.
You're still done?
I'm.
Like, that was quick. That was the quickest paint job ever.
No. I'm not messed up again.
But I think this is my favorite dragon so far from Archon.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
I really do. I think Freyr, the lightning dragon, is going to be a close second, just because of the clear plastic and the lightning and things like that. But, the jury's still out. But so far, this one is just so unique and so different. Hence the reason we bought 4 of them instead of just 1.
Didn't we get 4 of all of them, though?
No. We only got 4 of this one.
And...
we got 2.
And the $1 million?
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that one. That was completely a different reason, though. That was... so that it could fit into our Shadows of Brimstone games, where we really...
Actually, wasn't that not the reason why we got 4 of them?
No.
The reason why we got 4 of them? Because... not that? So we can give them away or sell them or something?
We thought about that, but
then we
realized that as we were playing Forbidden Fortress, that there's a very good reason to have 4, and I'm wondering if...
I thought we did it... I thought we figured it out just a few weeks... last week.
No.
That's the first time I remember hearing about that.
No. And I wonder if the people who play Shadows of Brimstone actually think about getting 4 of that monster dragon.
Monster dragon.
the Emperor dragon, so that they could paint him the 4 different colors. Because that would be almost more than our Kickstarter cost us.
How much does it even cost?
It's like $80 for 1 dragon. It's crazy.
Do we have it?
We have 1.
I'm not kidding anymore.
Nope, and it's so complicated to assemble that...
It's gonna be around it's gonna be 2023 when we actually make it.
No, we'll do it around New Year's, I think. No. We're not planning on doing it before January. That's for certain. And speaking of Kickstarters, I wanted to remind everybody who might be listening, who might be interested in retro sci-fi, that Starschlock has 3 days...
It's a good thing that it exists, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it has 3 days to go before the Kickstarter ends, and they've added a ton of freebies, as well as some new squads, a couple of heroes that are pretty cool. The robots are actually pretty nifty. Very 80s looking, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of retro sci-fi. I'm more doing this with the more stereotypical alien things in mind.
Right, more 1940s and 50s than 80s.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's still cool.
Yeah, it's a relatively inexpensive Kickstarter, and the people who are running it are nice guys, and I've spoken with them multiple times through the chats and what have you, and I'm really, really excited because we should receive our pledge by September, which is also when we plan on doing probably another retro month.
I don't think it's going to be retro themed because I kind of don't feel like it.
Well, at least 1980.
It's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be sci-fi, definitely.
Yeah.
But it might be...
Well, I'm gonna school you on some old 80s sci-fi, some Battlestar Galactica, some Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon. You definitely have to see the Flash Gordon movie. That was just a classic.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what I want to do.
Definitely have to see some pretty dark in here. I don't know if you can actually see the green, but it's turning out the way I envisioned.
Same with me.
And I will be going over it with other colors. And I'll probably only get to this green tonight, just because it's kind of a little more detailed and painstaking than I thought. This brush is really nice, but it in some cases it seems like it's a little big for what I really need to be doing.
Big.
Yeah, this little brush, it really actually seems a little, not the brush per se, but the handle is really thick, and it's not giving me.
I might say the same for mine, but that's actually one of the issues I had with the, not the issues, but even.
I've already lost a hair.
Hair? What do you mean?
One of the hairs from the brush came out, which is not a good sign. For a dry brush, it should be able to withstand the minimal dry brushing and the
No hairs from mine have come out.
The gentle dry brushing I'm trying to do with this brush.
Really? I mean, that hasn't happened for me at all. If it has, it didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it hasn't because
It's going to happen with any dry brush, but on, just taking it out of the box, I'm not thrilled with that aspect.
I think it might just be something with yours because I haven't had that.
It could be.
And I'm definitely less...
Careful.
Yeah.
Gentle.
Yeah, so if it hasn't happened for me, then that might just be an individual brush
Ooh,
thing. What?
I almost dropped it in the paint.
That would have been very bad.
I actually did that the other night when I was painting stretch goals. I dropped a miniature in my wet palette. I've done that before. As you get old and stuff and you're painting at 11 o'clock at night, your hands and eyes and everything start to go. I really need to take my own advice and paint early in the day, but while you're at school, while you're going to school and stuff, it's kind of difficult to...
Yeah, but I come back at 10.
I know.
11 and 10 are still technically, they're not early morning, but they're still...
Right. No, I was just telling somebody who's suffering
not.
from shakes and eye issues that, it's best to paint.
Okay, how do I clean this? What do I clean this brush? Is it still not the worst?
No, it's fine. It's just that we're running low on time here.
Oh.
Are you done with that color?
Actually, no. I need one more. One more thing, and it's just the top of the head.
Because it's almost time for us to call this a night.
Okay. So I guess I'll just do that off camera. So, are you done?
No, not even close.
Not done, but are you ready?
Not even close, but
For the end of the video.
Just give me a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Easy. That's one thing we like about using these foam boards.
Is that something like this breaks? Or not breaks
if it lands, show them. Because you've had that.
It's actually sometimes stabbed into it.
Right.
Which is much better than the
actual
snapping off.
wood hard table. Right. If it lands on these foam boards, it
could be a problem.
It'll puncture, but
it might actually snap it off. But the chance of that is...
It's less. It's
much less.
It's much less than if it were to just land right on the table. And I'm not sure whether...
Oh, yeah.
Quick, give me your advice, buddy.
What?
Should I paint the exterior part of the tail green or the interior? So far...
I didn't do a single thing different between the two.
I want to do one dark and one light.
Well, then the exterior should be dark in my opinion.
It should be the gray and the interior, because I've been doing all the, as you see, all the exterior.
Oh.
I think the outside part of the tail green, huh?
Yeah. I thought you meant two different types of green.
No. Everywhere I do green, I'm going to go over with the other colors of green, and I'm going to leave the night scale pretty much untouched. I may hit it with a silver. I was going to say either a shining silver or maybe a gunmetal or plate mail, but I kind of don't think that would look good. I think I should just stick with the night scale.
Just gave me an idea.
The night scale is such an interesting color that I think I'm just going to leave as much of it showing as possible for this guy.
I made a mistake as soon as I start working on this.
As soon as I finish this part of the tail, I'm going to call it.
I got the mistake brush.
We'll give them a quick look-see on the camera and call it a night. We also got a little bit of a late start tonight. But I'm not unhappy with this brush, but I'm not as overjoyed as I thought I might be with it. I thought it was going to be a little bit better. You know, once again, you get what you pay for. I will be trying to get one of these brushes from Archon because I haven't heard back from Artist Opus. Well, I did hear from them, but they weren't, you know.
It wasn't an automated thing?
Yeah. It wasn't really a live person, I don't think. And I was, you know, hoping that I would buy their brushes. And, you know, I've watched a ton of their videos on dry brushing, and, you know, I like what they see. They're absolute masters when it comes to painting, so I trust that they're gonna, you know, put together the best brush they can for dry brushing. It almost seems like that's their specialty, you know. A lot of painters have different specialties, as it were.
You mean paint companies? Or miniature paint companies?
Yeah, yeah. You know, some people focus on edge highlighting, and some people focus on dry brushing like these guys, or, you know, wet blending or things like that.
Actually, I'm going to have it so that, as you're doing, but it's going similar to how you're doing with certain things, just different patterns. I don't want it to be the same thing.
Right.
But some parts I'm actually not going to dry brush. I'm going to maybe even try to fill in the cracks with the metallic.
That
and
really
then dry
good.
brush over it with the neon, but not dry brush over with neon anywhere else.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So whenever you're ready to call it a night, I'm ready to show mine off. Actually, I'll just slowly let you guys take a look and see if you can see what I see. I still need to work on his face, but I want to use a much smaller brush for that because I'm not sure which parts I want to keep metal. I don't know if you can see his tail.
I don't really have a full plan on how I want this thing to be, but
I think that's the best angle. You can see the two colors that I'm using, and I think they really complement each other with their metallic sheens. Careful, sport.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. I'll do it. I'm not ready. Right tonight.
Okay, show them off. I'll take this from you.
I'll show the segment angle because I think it's best.
Rawr. How long's it been? How long's it been, folks? Thought I forgot.
A few weeks.
Could be a month. Put it right here. And slowly turn it. Let him get a good front shot first. I love that purple on the tail.
The full purple?
Yeah. It's just, I love that.
Including the not full, the dry brush purple? What do you like better, the full purple or dry brush purple?
I think I like the dry brush better just because you can see the blue in there, but at the same time, that purple just goes so good with that blue. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Arny Painter, you really knocked it out of the park with the paint.
Yeah, I didn't.
Not so much with the brush, but that was only one brush test.
And also my brush was much better, and I actually did much worse with handling it. I assume, because I assume that I didn't do better with handling the brush than he did. I mean, if I did, that's a miracle.
Yeah, I quit if that's the case. I've been doing this for 40 years, and
yeah.
And in 6 months he's beat me. No, that's not going to happen.
I think it was just maybe that specific brush was a bit worse than mine.
Yeah,
mine. It's the one I was using.
I really like that purple. God, it's neat. I can't wait to use that. I'm going to definitely have to buy another complete set just to get it.
I mean, the red is something I like the Vallejo red a bit better. But again, I just like that it's a bit brighter.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to use both on the next project I use it on.
But Arny Painter, if you're listening, we love your paints. Please put them out individually. Don't lock them into the sets. You know, last thing I need is more pink and what was it? Corroded gold or something?
Evo Chrome.
No, not.
Well, the gold color is actually.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not too different from.
Right, but
from old gold, which is
3 out of 10, you know, or 7 out of 10 being great colors. You know, don't make me don't make
bad?
the pink.
I mean, the pink isn't bad. It's just something we don't really care for.
Yeah.
And also
how often am I going to use metallic?
And also the craft paint metallic red is very similar.
Yeah.
Which isn't good.
So, say goodnight. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and stay tuned. We've got a pretty interesting couple of videos coming up. Hope you guys.
Interesting would be a word that I would definitely use.
Yes. And hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on your way out, and we will see you Tuesday. Good night.
Good night.